Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump has made a statement on Deepseek, and it's a very important statement that all of us should know because that could set the stage for our stock market. And frankly speaking, I begin to like Donald Trump a lot compared to what my biased position was. And let me explain to you why. And all these will have serious implications for the entire economy of the world, geopolitics, and stock market as well. Let's watch on. Those who have missed the entire saga, Deepseek is a Chinese AI company that has rocked the entire stock market and the AI world of US, and it has certainly reduced the cost of AI significantly. And I think you should watch my earlier video, but let's look at the forward perspective of what's the reaction after DeepSeek has came out and rocked the entire stock market. So President Donald Trump has adopted a very good perspective to DeepSeek. In a speech, Donald Trump has said that China's DeepSeek AI should be a wake-up call for American tech companies. DeepSeek's sudden popularity and praise for it shook the entire stock market in the US on Monday. And President Trump has actually said that the low cost model is considered to be a very positive development for AI overall. Exactly what I said yesterday. Because instead of spending billions and billions, you spend with less and you come out with hopefully the same solution. So President Trump got the right perspective to all these development. And I think the entire stock market is reacting in a very knee-jerk reaction that is very adverse and probably overreacted. And I think all of us should take this development very positively. This is where I want to digress to talk about President Trump. The new President Trump that's appointed in 2025 is very different from the previous president in 2017. This was the President Donald Trump in 2017. This is the new President Trump in 2025, and it is a very different president. In the first few days of his work, he has already achieved so much and got a lot of things right. And I must say that I have a biased opinion of him before he was the president, and I still harbor those biasness until I see him at work over the last 1 week or so as the president, and it was amazing. Let's watch on, shall we? First of all, as a president, he's a number one salesman for America. He's shamelessly selling America. A lot of politicians adopts a subtle selling kind of approach, but not Donald Trump. He's shamelessly selling America, and he's outrightly making, doing all the policies as outright right for America, and he has no qualms angering people over it. And in a recent speech, he says there will be no place better on earth to build jobs, build factories, or grow a company than right here in the good old USA. In a survey that's conducted in December, it's found that the small business optimism index has hit the highest point since 2018. And a lot of people are very optimistic about businesses for US. And to be frank, so am I. I'm not saying he's good for rest of the world. He's very good for US. I think nobody doubts that. Donald Trump is going to lower the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%. And that's a huge uplift on the profitability of companies. And Trump has outright said that 15% is about as low as it gets. And by far the lowest of a large, rich, and powerful companies. And he caveat and say that the lower tax rate will only be applicable to companies that make their products in US. And that's going to create a tremendous buzz, and it certainly does. And so I'm very positive that all these moves are very good for the US economy and US stock market, and that's where some of my interest lies. Most government are famous for bureaucracy, and the US government is filled with it. And right now, Donald Trump has made a big effort to try to reduce regulation. And this reduction in regulation will certainly have a very positive economy impact. So Donald Trump knows that the country is filled with red tape, and he's going to reduce a lot of it so that you uplift the economy. So he's doing things right on this end as well. In an interesting turn of event, Donald Trump actually said that he's prepared to negotiate with China. Before the elections, Trump have outright said that he will slap on huge tariffs, hit China really hard. China is their number one commercial enemy, and so on, blah, blah, blah. Huge surplus imbalance between China and US. Guess what? Trump have right now put a different stance now that he's a president. So Trump have already said that he would rather not put tariffs on China, but he maintains the threat. And this actually has some reciprocity from China and say that, they are prepared to talk as well. In an interesting turn of attitude, Trump is now prepared to negotiate with China, and this could actually avoid the high tariffs and high costs of imports towards US and potentially avoid the high inflation impact. So Trump has successfully stopped the war between Hamas and Israel. There's a ceasefire, although it might be a fragile one, but now there's a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel. Hamas is now returning a lot of the hostages. Not enough, but badges and badges of hostages are being returned. This has certainly brought some peace in the Middle East that President Biden could not achieve, and that's a good outcome. And how does he achieve it? Well, he just simply warned all hell will break out if Gaza hostages are not released before his inauguration, and everyone took him seriously. And as a result, now the hostages are now being released in batches. We hope that enduring peace would happen. The hostages will all be released. It's a very fragile one. At least right now, he has got some significant success, and that's a big tick to his capability. Donald Trump has boastfully claimed that he can stop the Russian Ukraine war in 24 hours. But we all know that that is not possible. But now he's putting action to where his words is. He has tasked U.S. envoy General Kellogg's to end the war within 100 days. And he actually have plans that I think could work to end the war. I think he could have a striking chance of ending the war between Russia and Ukraine, where President Biden could not, is because he's not taking sides. So his KPI is not measured by how many wars, how many battles that they win, but also by how many wars will end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. And this is the right perspective. I think this is incredible wisdom that every president must have. And that's why I say that this is a different Donald Trump than what it was in 2017. President Vladimir Putin has held an unprecedented National Security Council meeting on Trump's inauguration day, signaling to Trump that he's willing to enter negotiations. And he said that the solution should remove the root cause of the war, which is NATO's eastward expansion. And then his deputy foreign minister actually said that Trump's administration present an opportunity for an agreement. Trump's appointment has inspired Russia to potentially want to pursue for an end of the war. And I know President Zelensky of Ukraine also want to end the war. So I think there's an opportunity there. In my humble opinion, this war was really started or triggered by NATO and to a large extent the US. And the root of the cause is the US, it must be stopped by the US as well. Donald Trump has probably found a way to pressure Russia, and he actually threatened to put high levels of tax tariffs and sanction on anything sold by Russia to the United States should Moscow fail to agree on a deal to the conflict. Settle now, stop this ridiculous war, and it's only going to get worse, right? His way of pressurizing Russia is to use oil. Trump in the World Economic Forum actually outright say this, that he believed that he can pressure the oil prices to be lowered all the way to $45, and at $45 Russia either break even or lose money, and that will cause the Russian coffers to dry up, and that would actually stop Russia from continuing the invasion of Ukraine. In a nutshell, he believes that targeting Russia oil revenues is the best way of getting Moscow to end its nearly 3-year war against Ukraine. And I totally agree with this approach. So Donald Trump is going to pressure Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia and OPEC, to increase the supply to press oil prices down so that you will really go out and pressure Russia. Now, in the same time, in the same breath, he also said this: lowering oil prices will cut inflation and also potentially interest rate. So it's killing two birds with one stone, given that we have a high inflation rate right now. This is also a nice segue into a very interesting development. Trump has outright said that he will put some pressure on Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell to cut interest rate. Although that is not constitutional, I think, and that's not allowed by the law, but he's going to do it. And he's the president. He will have some ability to pressure Powell for sure. And hopefully that will cause Powell to think twice before maintaining interest rate where they are. So, as a result, my opinion on Donald Trump has changed dramatically. Here, in his first few days, he have already invoked a lot of executive orders that has changed the landscape of US politics and also set a lot of pressure globally to bring peace and potentially bring down inflation. He has put the right perspective on Deepseek, and I hope that this will spur the US high-tech industry to adopt a very open perspective towards developing AI in a very cheap way. And while these are early days, but these early days on Donald Trump's regime looks very promising. So I got to take back my words on my opinion on Donald Trump months ago. Certainly, the first 1 or 2 weeks of his presidency looks very promising. We look forward to more. I think he's very good for the US economy and possibly the stock market. Whether he's good for the rest of the world is a totally different thing. But I'm just coming to everybody on this perspective that he is going to be a very good United States president. So let's watch on, shall we? Thank you, everybody, for watching. And this is probably the best time to wish everybody a happy Chinese New Year. Gong hei fat choi, and we'll see you in a day or two. Bye bye.